All righty. Hello and welcome. I am Heather Pierce Campbell, the Legal Website Warrior. I'm an attorney and legal coach based here in Seattle, Washington, serving entrepreneurs throughout the U.S. and the world. Welcome to another episode of Guts, Grit, and Great Business. We have a really fabulous topic to talk about today. I'm super excited to welcome my new guest, Cosimo Intermite. Welcome, Cosimo. How are you?
Hello, great, and you?
Excellent. Doing so well. Cosimo and I were introduced through a mutual friend who actually just went through one of Cosimo's courses and just raved about it. So I am super excited. Cosimo teaches on a topic that is near and dear to my heart, learning. And we're going to have a super fun conversation today about learning blocks, how that translates into our professional careers, right, into our work life. So this will be a great conversation. Cosimo, welcome. I'm super happy to have you here. I know I just have to say for people listening, Cosimo is on vacation and showed up anyways. We were both laughing about our summer outfits because we're also doing a video Zoom
Yes,
of this conversation.
I'm
Um,
very happy to be here.
Excellent. We go with the flow. I tell people this is a no stress zone. We're just going to make it
Yes.
happen and go with the flow. And I always joke like kids could bust in the door anytime and we will hit pause and life goes on. Um, so Cosimo, share with our listeners a little bit about, I know you've had quite a journey. You've got a TEDx talk out there. You have this Genius in 21 Days course, right? You are on a mission, I think, to change the way that people learn and make sure that people are able to get over learning blocks and learn what they need to
Yes.
and really create success in their lives. So talk to us about how this journey started for you.
Well, you want to it's a very, I will do this story very short. But I remember that I was going to college. Okay, first of all, when my company told me like, Cosimo, do you want to open an American location? I said, certamente, mi sembra una bella opportunità. Mi piace parlare americano, in inglese, vediamo. Anyway, I did not speak English 3 years ago, and I was freaking scared. Hey, yes, let's go to America and all of that. Anyway, I'm dyslexic, and one of my voice was like, "Yes, Cosimo, you will never make it. You never learned English. You can't go there. You can't do this. You must stay in Italy. I mean, I have a very good location here. Why do I need to go there and all of that?" Unfortunately, the other voice said, "Cosimo, well, you can go to America. You can learn because you have a method." And then, that thanks to the techniques, I learned like 6,000 words in 2 weeks plus the grammar rules, and it was great. So I made something that was for me not possible, and that's what I believe. You're right about I'm on mission. Yes, I am. I want people to feel the same way with a superpower. One thing, how I met this course was because of a girl in front of college. Basically, you know those people who give out flyers in front of college. I never stopped, honestly, but the day there was this girl, she was pretty, and I said, "Why not? I just stopped for her, not for the flyer anyway." Maybe this happens only in Italy, but anyway, he said, "Oh, there is this course you can learn faster." And honestly, I was looking for something like that, and I said, "I mean, you're pretty. The course is great. I can come there." Honestly, she wasn't there, but it's okay. I was expecting that. But
Right.
they blew my mind. I mean, I was able to pass 13 exams and prepare for 13 exams and pass all of them while I was doing 4 jobs in 3 months. And so for many people that are going to college in the moment, it was like, what? I can't even remember one or two of them, and you can do 13 at the same time. And then I opened my first location when I was 20. So I was running a business without knowing how to run a business, basically. But thanks to the techniques, then I became so it was very good. I mean, I was one of
Yeah.
the best locations in Italy.
That's amazing. Well, and it's so fun how your story reflects the fact that something can intersect our path kind of, out of the blue sometimes,
Yes,
and then it can become like literally your mission.
yes.
So take us back a little bit. You said you were looking for something like that.
Yes.
Tell us about that piece, right? What were you looking for? What was missing? What were you hoping to find?
So, as I said, I'm dyslexic, and all of my life in school was, I don't want to say that it was bad, but it was not like, oh, great, and all of that. I was always against my teachers sometimes because I didn't understand them and I want them to
Mm,
understand. And they usually shut down your willing to ask questions. And that's the worst thing that they can do for you because what happens is uh, as a kid you're curious and you want to learn, you really love learning. I mean, I can say that everyone loves learning. Then we start hating the process we need to go through to learn something.
mm,
And anyway, I'm dyslexic, and one of the things that I had in my brain was maybe I'm not enough intelligent to understand things or to learn things or to do that. Also, to I was dreaming some business by myself, but I said maybe I can't do that because I'm not enough smart in doing that. Maybe I'm slower than others, and so you notice that what an adult can tell you can really influence not only your, let's say, not only when you're a kid, but also when you become a professional. You can have different ideas about yourself. There
mhm.
maybe are ideas that don't belong to you, but you took from some situations that made you believe that thing. Anyway, I don't want to go around all of these
Right.
things,
No,
but
but we
this
inherit
thing,
beliefs and thought patterns, right, from our childhood
right?
usually. Yes.
And so, besides that, I was always like looking for something to be faster and to be more efficient in what I was doing. And one of the things that I was missing is reading. I never read a book till I was 16, for example. I mean, I was reading just
Mm,
for school because I was obligated to do it, but not because I wanted to do it.
yeah.
And then after 16, my mom was trying to give me some books to read. Anyway, long story short, it was the time that I wanted to start a business by myself when I was in college and start studying at the same time. But I didn't see that possible for me. And then with the techniques, it was possible for me. So I was looking for something to be faster and efficient and be also more, not only motivated, but focused. Because if
Hmm.
when I will talk about more about the blocks, I would say that most of the blocks that people experience, they think they are part of themselves, but it's not. It's just blocks that you have that you developed because no one taught you a method. No one taught you how to study, just what to do. And I felt like very distracted, very procrastinating things sometimes, or like finishing something that I was doing, opening different things at the same time. And I said, I can be a successful business owner if I am this way. So I need to have strategies. I want to fix this. And then I was going to college and I found this girl and I found this, let's say, this opportunity for college first. I didn't know what was behind that flyer because when they, I mean, I don't want to spoil so much now, but when you see that the techniques are makes you feel like more focused. Yeah, I improved my productivity after the course 80%. So like I was gaining also gain 80% more. It was like what? I never knew that my blocks were keeping me from having mm, so losing this, so losing all those results.
Yeah.
And once I see that it was possible for me, it was great.
Yeah, that had to feel like a light switch almost flipping, you know?
Yes, I called
Yeah.
it superpower. I felt like a superpower. So to give an example, in 2019, I read 83 books, 44 in 12 days to create a new side gig that allows me to gain money. And then I said, what's the average of Americans, for example, they read books? Two books every month. Oh, two books every year. I said, oh, basically, would have finished with this side gig of my business in 22 years, but I finished in 12 days. So it was great. It's a
Yeah.
superpower. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. I think it is really challenging for people. I mean, for a variety of reasons. One, to carve out the time that it
Yes.
takes to sit down and read a book. And, currently, especially under like the constraints of COVID. And, I
Oh,
look at my last year and being full-time mom and trying to run two small businesses.
yes.
It's a lot. Reading on top of regular life is a lot, but it is one of the things that can create the most transformation in our life, right? And before we get there, I want to talk to you, if you will share with us for a minute, what are blocks, right? When you say blocks, are you talking about beliefs that are getting in the way? Like, share with us what you mean when you say blocks.
Okay, so let me see. Okay, basically, no one taught us how to learn, just what to learn. And that's why we created some blocks. Blocks can look like, they can look like, for example, being distracted every time. So you have many ideas that maybe they can be good, but they bring you away from what you're doing. So that increases your time of accomplishing something. It can be procrastination. It can be like reading over and over something, because actually our brain can read once and understand. And the thing is, why do we need to read over and over something? Because people don't have, no one taught us strategies to read efficiently and retain things while we are reading.
Mm.
For example, other blocks can be also in retaining long term. Everyone knows that, for example, they learn a language. If they don't use it, they lose it. It's not true. Actually, your brain can retain that, but they never told you how your brain can do it. Because
Mm-hmm.
if I ask you, do you still remember something that happened when you were a kid? Yes, I remember it. So basically, you can retain long term, but you can't retain the stuff that you want. Why? Because no one taught you how your brain likes doing that. So
Mm.
blocks is, yes, also what we believe and we don't believe when we are able to do, but most of the times it's created by a wrong tool.
Mm.
Let me give an example. Maybe it's better to understand it. So let's say I ask you to change a flat tire, and I ask you to do it without tools. What happens? You can be highly motivated, you can be smart enough, you can be very strong, you can be whatever.
I've changed my own tire, and I can tell you I wouldn't be able to do it without tools.
Correct. You need to
Yeah.
lift the car, screw the bolts with your hand. It's not possible, okay? Now, the thing is, then you're convinced that you need to drive that slow in your life. So basically, not giving
Mm.
tools makes you feel you're not able to do something. That's a block. So, but you created a block and doubting on your abilities, not because you don't have abilities or because you're not enough smart or whatever, because no one gave you the tools to change the flat tire. So
Yeah.
if you go slower, then you start, of course, having distractions and having all of that, because you say, I need to really reach there, but I can't go as fast as I want to go.
Oh, this
So
is so interesting. Like, what's coming to mind as you say this, my son, who we were just chatting about before I went live, has
yeah,
ADHD, right? And he
yes,
is a very fast processor. So
yes.
you can be having a conversation and he will be 10 steps ahead of you talking about something entirely different, and you're still trying to process the first thing that he said.
Oh yes, you're right. And that's
And
something.
so
Yeah,
I
go.
think, yeah, what you were talking about, like your brain wants to go faster, but you're stuck going slow. I think there's actually a lot of people that can relate to that feeling, because when he is feeling bored or like people are not keeping up with him, right? He's irritated. Like these other things come into the picture that make it even harder.
Yes, when I worked with ADHD, I mean, I am dyslexic, so of course I lose focus really, really fast. The thing is this: they are not learning these abilities the way they. I mean, it's called this way scientifically, but I call them superpowers they don't know how to use.
Mhm.
Traditional methods, also for people that are not dyslexic or there are no ADHD or ADD, whatever, are still slow for their brain.
Yes.
And that's why when something's slower than your brain wants to go, your brain has more room to think other things. Like think about driving a car. If you drive in the car like 5 miles per hour to get from, let's say, Colorado to Alaska, it will be forever for your brain. And of course, you have more room to do other things 5 miles per hour while you're driving. And it's the same when you're learning or working. So the thing is, if I'm going so slow, my brain will have other things to think, and those things will bring me away from the things that I'm doing. But not because I don't want to do, because I don't have a tool that allows me to go as fast as I want to go.
No, it makes so much sense when you say it that way. And I think the car example was a really good example for people. So, how do folks begin to recognize whether they actually have a block? Because I think some are going to be super obvious, and I think others are probably not as obvious.
Yes, that's a wow. It's a very long answer, but I'm going to shorten it for you. So, okay, how do they recognize their blocks? Basically, a block you can recognize a. I mean, I have a course that's called Learning Blocks Equal Professional Blocks, and you can analyze yourself from the inside. It's a wonderful trip that you can do inside of yourself. But usually in the course, what I say is start seeing how, if I ask you, for example, can you read a book and retain everything you're reading forever? If the answer is no, unless I repeat it over and over, you already have a block in comprehension and retention.
Mm.
If I ask you, for example, can you keep the focus for 3 hours without having any distractions? You say, no, I will be, after 1 hour, I will be distracted. I can keep
Right. After COVID,
it.
nobody is able to focus for 3 hours. At least
Right.
parents. There's no parent out there who has been able to have 3 hours of focus during
Of
COVID.
course. And besides like the external like distractions, um, so when people say, actually, when I'm working, my brain is thinking something else, that's a block, for example. Or procrastination is a block. If you're procrastinating, you know you procrastinate, is a learning block. And people don't think it's a block. They think,
Mm.
I was and I am this way. Hey, I just want to ask you something. When you were a kid, you didn't want your parents to procrastinate your gifts. So your procrastination was zero when you were a kid. When they say, Mom, can you buy me an ice cream? They want an ice cream right now, not later. And when they say, I want to do that, they want to do it now, not later. So
An example,
procrastination.
right? An example of this. My daughter who just turned 4 is obsessed with Pokemon cards because her brother is obsessed with Pokemon cards. And
Yeah.
so she's got this little stack of cards that she carries around, and she was like, "Mom, I need a book for these," right? So she tells me this yesterday. So last night I get online and look for like a little mini book, like a
Yeah.
little size one. She's tiny for Pokemon cards, and I put them in my shopping cart on Amazon. I didn't purchase them, right? And so this morning she's like, "Mom, where's the book?" And she's literally trying to get the key to open our front door, like, "Where's the book, Mom?" And I laughed. I was like, "Oh no, I put it in my shopping cart and I didn't buy it." And she was like so confused. "Why? What shopping cart?" And I was like, "In Amazon." And she goes, "You left my book at Amazon?" She's 4. But you're right. Like this sense of immediacy is about everything. It's about everything.
Yes, yes. And now, if I ask you, what did you learn procrastinating in school? Because you felt there
Mm.
is an amount of information so high, there is no method. You need to learn this and retain this as long as they ask you. And you say, how can you retain this as long as they ask me? Because I will forget it. So you're going to do it last minute. Then you learned procrastination. And then it's a learning block. Then in business, when you procrastinate something, is not going to actually give you results, and even actually will make you feel even more frustrated, or like will hit and hurt your self-esteem of accomplishing things.
Mm. Well, can I ask you a question on
Sure.
procrastination? Because it seems like procrastination could also be a product of, like, we can't do all of it at once, right? So we have to prioritize,
Correct.
as a mom, as a business owner. And so
Yes.
certain things are high priority and certain things are low priority. And these lower priority things often get procrastinated. We just keep pushing them off, right?
Yes.
So is that about learning? Is it about not being able to handle things at the speed that we want to, or is it just like talk to me about that, like
Yes.
prioritization and blocks.
I can tell you. Okay, prioritizing actually can be also can be good. Okay,
Hmm.
the thing is, if your brain doesn't go as fast as you want to go, you're going to, most of the procrastination happens for that reason. I want to give an example, okay? So it's easier to explain this with an example than answering with many words. Let's say, has it ever happened to you that you buy a book on Amazon, you receive it in one day, you say, this is really, I really want to read it. It's really important for me. And maybe I can make more business with this. Or anyway, it's something that you want to do. That not necessarily is a priority, but you want to read. So what happens? It stays on the desk for many, many days, sometimes months, without opening. Now, the question is, why do we do that? It's because it's not a priority? Maybe. I will tell you why. Your brain thought, I want to really retain things from this book. It's really important for me. I need to have the time to focus on this. And I really want to grasp the information and learn it. But I don't think I have enough time to do that. Why?
Mm.
Because you don't have a method to do that faster. Let me give an example. Another kind of example. Different situation would be if I ask you, would you like to read a book if you know that you can read 50 pages in 10 minutes? Yes. And retain everything forever? Yes. What change it? the minutes that you have. No, you still have 10 minutes. It's the same book, but I'm talking about efficiency. So I'm talking about you have a method that allows you to retain as long as you go through the book, and you do 50 pages in 10 minutes. Everyone would do that, even if it's not a priority. So what's now the cause of procrastination is the method, because your
Mm,
brain doesn't basically see achievable the result that you want to have in the time that you have because of the tool that you're using. It's like I want to change the flat tire, but I don't have time because I'm trying to do that with my hands so many times, but it takes me so much. Maybe at the end I will change it to screw one bolts, but I need to screw all of them. I don't want to just screw one bolts to do the things that I need to do. I don't know if it
yeah.
makes sense, but
Yep.
example is the tool is the problem, not the book, not the time that you have, and not that you don't know your priorities. So
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I think there is still a relationship between methods and time, because when we up level our methods, right, it
yes,
solves this time problem that we have. And
correct.
and that's a very common conversation, I think, for small business owners and entrepreneurs across the board is what methods are we using in our business that give us back our time, help us scale efficiently, where we are not doing everything ourselves and we're not doing things that are actually hurting our business.
Yes, and I can tell you that when you feel so, an unblocked person thinks this way. Just to understand the difference, an unblocked person knows where everything fits in their schedule, and they know they can accomplish everything without stress.
Mm,
So basically, let's say today I need to do all those bunch of things. I have a big project. Okay, actually, a good example is my life. This year is the most productive year of my business, of my entire career. Okay, I'm dealing with 21 projects at the same time. Okay, and I'm a man. I can do many things at the same time. That's what what we can say. But the thing is, how can I do that? Well, since my car it's going as fast as I want to go, I can fit more things because I'm efficient in the time that I have. So it's July and I am already like finished. I already finished like 11 projects already. So the other 10 will be finished by November. Worst case scenario, no, mid of November. But after mid of November, I don't have any more projects. I can also take a vacation if I want. But the thing is, why I can do all those things at the same time, because my brain doesn't feel that I'm stressed. I feel that I'm excited, even if there are things that I don't want to do or things that I need to do, but it's not my favorite. But
mm-hmm.
I know that I can do them faster with the efficiency that I want. So let's do it. And I do it. And the thing is, my focus goes 100% and my comprehension goes 100%. So I feel more energy and more motivated. And a block person thinks that way and has tools to do it. So,
Mm. Yes, I love the difference even in how that feels, right? They're able to accomplish what they want without stress, somebody without blocks. Versus, and I think most of us, I can personally relate to the blocked side of the equation and feeling like there's just not enough time, right?
yes.
And even if I got to a place where I was starting to feel balanced pre-COVID, then I ended up becoming full-time mom again and was like, holy cow, here we go,
Yes.
climbing the mountain again.
Yes. And I'm not saying like being a parent and a business owner, it can be very hard, but I am a parent and a business owner, and my wife it
Mhm.
is too. Now, if you ask to my wife if you feel stressed during COVID, in the beginning, yes, but
Mhm.
she would tell you. Fortunately, I had mind maps, for example, is one of the methods that we teach and customize on people.
And what is it
And
called? Mind maps?
mind maps, yes.
Hmm.
Many people have a misconception about this, or they don't know. They think they know what they are, but they don't know basically because there are many books out, but they never customize them on their brain. So they never get the advantage
Mm.
of understanding how their brain can take the most from them. Anyway, the thing is, we adjusted when COVID hit. We adjusted our business and things around the mind maps, and she felt so much organized. She was producing as much as she was doing before she delivered the baby. Which, if you had a baby, you know that after you deliver, you don't have time at all to do anything
Yeah.
just with the baby. We didn't have our parents-in-law here. We didn't have my parents here. We were just by ourselves. In the beginning, it was a little bit stressful. I don't want to hide. Yeah, that's yes. But I want to say, if you have a method, you can always figure it out the way your brain can load the stress as the minimum possible.
Yeah.
And you can feel also more focused because under stress, you can find a solution, but it's not as well as when you are confident that you can find a solution.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, and I love, yes, I think, I mean, how many people would love to have that feeling of confidence that they are working and including learning as efficiently as they want
yes,
to? Because most people who I would say are entrepreneurs, who are growth minded, they care about learning, but it really becomes this challenge of how you fit it in and how you prioritize it and all of that. And so going back to your bio, I want to touch on a few things that are fascinating because I think it helps round out like all this experience you have and that you bring to your work and your course, right? And I don't know anybody else who has some of these certifications, right? You have master level certifications in mind map, speed reading, micro facial expressions. I'm so curious about this one. Team building, public speaking, effective communication, goal setting, decision making, personal development, time management, and memory techniques, right? So I'm guessing that all of this is folded into some of your teachings and
yes,
instruction.
it
Talk to
is.
and just for a minute, tell me about this microfacial expressions piece.
Well, it's great. I mean, it's a certification that I took in Italy, and it's great. So basically, I say to people, don't lie to me.
Right, you're like the FBI. You're going to be like, "Nope, you just touched your left finger to your nose or whatever." I'm kidding, but
Well, it's
yeah.
yeah, it's not exactly like that, but
No.
it's like that. So now, the thing is, facial expression is really, really good. There are many things around body language that people needs to
Yeah.
know, and I was just fascinated. That's why I took the kind of certification because I can help people in their blocks even better. And because the microfacial expressions actually are managed by your unconscious mind, so you can't lie basically.
Mm,
And one of the things that I like about it, I can really understand people how they feel and guide the conversation in the way they can feel different.
yeah.
Or I want them to release like some beliefs about their learning, and I do that. I mean, there are different ways you can use it, but it's fun because thanks to that, you are able to be a better communicator. That's
Well,
the goal that
exactly. I think it all boils down to communication. And even when I think about how much people have shifted, like, I would say even in the last 5 years, right, away from telephone to online video
yeah,
chats, online sales calls, online, online,
yeah,
online. I still am a little bit old fashioned in that I do a lot of phone calls because I have two little people at home and I'm often
yes,
multitasking where I have to literally, be keeping eyeballs on one or both of them and handling a phone call at the same time. But
yeah.
most people will request Zoom. And I think having those skills really does help you, communicate in a way where you at least have a better understanding of what's happening for the other person during your
Yes.
conversation.
There is
Yeah.
one thing that actually is more powerful than the micro expressions, which is called cognitive styles language. So
Mm,
just I don't want to dig so much into that. It's one of my workshop that I part of the workshop that I do. But the thing is, basically, before we are able to make a decision on something, our brain needs to process and elaborate the decision in a way. Okay, so the way is linked to the way we learn. Okay, so
mm,
basically, the science behind that says cognitive, for example, from Latin means understanding and learning. So the way we learn is the way we usually speak. The thing
mm.
is, based on how you're speaking, I understand how you learn. And what I do with people is I I can understand how they learn, so I can customize what I'm saying the way they can learn about it. So what happens? The opposite experience is like when you go to school and there is a teacher, you need to listen to that. But maybe it's a great teacher, but you can't understand it. What happens? You feel frustrated. You can't retain it, and you feel like I don't want to follow through this class, and I hate this person. Okay,
Right. It's well,
that's
it's
what you
like
feel.
Charlie Brown, right? Wah, 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 wah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. And another thing is, you feel that way. And in business, it's even worse because if you're trying to pitch on someone, for example, or if you're trying to communicate with your customers that they want to have a resolution on something or whatever, and you're not able to have them learn and understand and retain what you say, you are keep going back on the same point every time they are calling you for the same thing because they
Yeah.
didn't get it. And no one would say, I'm stupid, I didn't get it. Okay. So the thing is, opposite is if I understand how you learn and how your brain likes putting pieces of information together, I can understand it, customize my talk to you. And you say, wow, Cosimo, I talk to many, for example, you're a lawyer, you said earlier. I talked to many lawyers about this thing, but no one was able to explain to me the way you explain it to me. I feel what? Empowered. I feel
Mhm.
confident because I can manage the information you gave me. So I can make a decision and I know if I need to give you money, I know where that money is going. And I feel like, okay, that's great. I did the best decision I made. And the feeling, it's really hard to forget. They're
Yeah.
going to remember that.
Yeah.
And that's even more powerful. I was using this during COVID so much, and and people told me, "Wow, I never had someone online like you that allowed me to have an experience like I have online." Because usually online we don't activate all our brain, but they
Yeah.
felt they were activating their brain so well,
Yeah.
pretty like close to meeting in person. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, and I imagine based on what I'm hearing from you and about how you approach your work, and I'm still curious about how you do this in the context of a group training because you've got lots of brains that probably learn in different ways, right?
Yeah,
But I imagine your courses or your trainings that you offer help people first understand their own brain and how they learn. Is
correct.
that part of the process?
Yes, no, it's a fundamental piece, starting piece of the process. Because if you don't understand yourself, how your brain likes learning, you can't recognize the others. You need to
Yeah.
start with yourself. I ask people, I basically tell people in the course, you're going to become again kids. Kids usually thinks about themselves and and they want to be heroes, they want to be great, and then they can connect with the others so well. So you're going to become again kids. And yes, the very first piece is to learn about ourselves. And yes, about like how do I do in like groups of people? Well, I use all the cognitive styles languages in order, and I cover
Right.
all of them, and everyone feels included. If you talk to any of my 100 students that I have, they will always say it was like instead of being it was like the course usually it's a weekend, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and they in the beginning they think oh it's a long weekend whatever, but then after the weekend they say it just flew this weekend. I learned so much, I retained so much, and I don't understand why I retained so much already by what we did, so just did what we did.
Yeah.
And then I tell them what I did with them throughout the whole weekend, and they said, oh my gosh, you are totally right. When you were saying that sentence, when you were putting that information that way, when you were doing that, oh, I can do that for the other people. Yes, you can. and
Yeah.
and when they do it, then they have results. I want people to start from themselves, then to use them in their business with the other people. So
Right. Well, that seems to be kind of the magic sauce right here is like once you understand how you learn yourself, right? And the language that you prefer, etc. And then expanding out to who are your clients, how do they learn? It seems like you can have a lot more empowering sales conversations and, just connection conversations where you're
correct.
exploring is this person your client to begin with?
Yes, for me it's not just that they are going to sell,
No,
but
no,
it's for
no.
me like I want them to connect deeply with the person, which is
Right.
different. Yes,
Totally. Well, and my perspective on sales, just so we're clear, is that you show up fully in service to the other person
correct,
in that
correct. Bah,
conversation
yes,
so that you're actually
yes,
helping them decide are they in need of your services or not. It's not
very good.
about converting everybody to a yes. It's are they in need of your services or
Right.
not because you fully understand their problem.
Yes, yes. Wow, we are so much on the same page because I opened the course by saying the same thing. You are on service,
Yeah.
and I learned all of those things because yes, now I love learning so much. I've always loved learning, but I can do it also faster. So that's why I learned all of those bunch of
Mm,
things. But one thing I say, you're on service and you're doing this, yes, for you because you need to start with yourself, but with the goal of for example, in my the everyday life, my wife knows that I learn that way, And when she talks to me, even if she's different, actually the opposite learning styles, by the way, she tries, and I tries the best that I can to have her understand me in the way she needs to understand things. And we never, I mean, we have an argument sometimes, but she says, we have an argument because I'm not hitting your learning size, right? Yes. And then we just laugh, and then we say, okay, let me repeat this for you. And I say, oh, I got it now. Yes. So it's not because I'm stupid, but because you're saying that to me in a different way.
Oh, it's
Because my
so
brain doesn't learn
true.
it.
Yes,
Yes.
no, it's so true. I think anybody who's ever had a relationship, just period, can relate to this. I mean, like, so for me, I'm very literal. I say what I mean. I expect people to use clear language and say what they mean. And so if they use the wrong word or they say something like, I'm gonna I'm gonna ask because my brain wants to figure out like did they mean this or did they mean that? Not
Yeah,
because I'm trying to pick them apart. And my husband will get so frustrated
mad
with
about that. I was thinking the same.
totally because he's very figurative. He's not
Yes.
literal. He's very figurative and he wants to kind of speak in concepts and make lots of assumptions and just have you fill in
Yes.
some of the gaps. And it's not at all how my brain works.
Yeah. I analyzed you actually, and when we were talking the first time, maybe I told you already what your learning styles were,
I can't
but
remember.
you
I
don't
don't
remember. So
know.
you are analytical verbal. What does it mean? Analytical means that you love having under control all the details, but at some point you need to get to the point. Okay. And and then verbal means that not that you talk too much. It means basically that you love logical connections. So
Mm,
if it makes sense, I can retain it. If it doesn't make sense, I don't retain it. So verbal
right.
also, they like written things, they take notes,
Yes, I
they
take a
want to read
ton of notes. I like
yes.
when you were talking about how do you retain information from books. I'm a fast reader, but I'll pick my highlight and literally flip to the back page and you can go to pretty much any book I've read and you'll see my
Heard that.
cliff notes.
Yes.
You'll like it's how my brain processes. It will retain it if I write it.
Yeah, even if I didn't know this about you, just by talking, I understood what your learning styles are. And
Yeah.
that's why I tend now to speak to your learning styles, even if I'm using all four in this moment. But the thing is, um, I love that because usually this is really interesting to understand. I found this so much. I don't know why, because there are no enough studies behind it. But usually we partner with people that have almost the main learning styles, the main learning styles, the opposite of what we are. So for example,
Ah.
the opposite of you is the global person, which is someone that wants to go through concepts, okay, and big pictures and all of that. So, and that's for example, your main learning style is verbal. So that's why you have your husband being more visual. But there are no enough studies to say we partner with someone that's the opposite. But every time I can guarantee you, when I have families that I'm analyzing them through the Genius test, because they take the test and I can analyze them really deeply.
Yeah.
Uh, they say, "Wow, we are totally opposite." Oh, now I know why you make me so mad when you tell me those things that I don't care about. That I just want to do this, and I say, and they just laugh. And you know what? What happens? The judgment, the angry or
Yeah.
the
The
anger,
frustration.
frustration goes away, and they just laugh. Like I laugh with my wife so much
Well,
about
yeah, you have a different understanding about
yes.
like the internal workings of their brain. It really helps. And yeah, no, I love this. I could do this kind of stuff all day long, but
Yeah.
share with us, right? So share with us because I know you have this amazing course. This is why my friend introduced us actually. Sounds
Mhm.
like you take people through a really intense period of time over a couple days on a weekend. Talk to us a little bit about the range of things that you cover. And I know we're bumping up against time, but just a quick, synopsis of the ways that you help people unlock from those blocks or whatever during your time together.
Yes, I need to answer very shortly, and I'm trying to summarize everything for you.
Well,
So,
because I know there's a lot in your bio, right? Like speed reading
yeah,
and
there's so
like
much.
there's so
Okay,
much.
I found
Give
it.
give people the high level takeaway of what they would get if they were to check out your work and participate in something that you offer.
Yeah, let me start answering this way. So, a perfect method goes through 6 steps, which is approach, reading, understanding, organizing, retaining, and be able to explain. So
Mm,
six parts, or be able to apply whatever it is.
right.
So the thing is, during the course, we cover all of them. One of the things that I teach people is strategic reading, or it's called also strategic speed reading. Many people are familiar with speed reading, but speed reading honestly doesn't work with everyone. For
Yeah.
example, with you, based on the brain, on the things that I analyzed about your brain, wouldn't work so much because you feel like you're missing so many details and you don't understand him. Your brain needs to understand and have connections. Okay.
Ah,
So if you speed up without having strategies, you're going to miss more details. You don't apply that. Okay. I did a speed reading course and for me, it didn't work anyway. So there are people that they say it's fun, it's great. Maybe they have already strategies. Anyway, when people go through the course, they actually improve at least 4 times their speed and comprehension when they are reading. They retain as
even
long as
somebody
they
like
want.
me, even somebody like
Yes,
me.
of course,
Yeah.
yes. And someone like you, I think it's not. I mean, anyway, everyone, also you. and and I was saying something like, one thing that I really like about the course is at the end of the weekend, one of the best exercises I would like to do with them is to learn 30 new words in 10 different languages: Arabic, Chinese, Japanese, Italian, French. And then they retain, and there are so many other languages that we do. And they retain all of them. When I ask them the words, they retain and remember all of them. And they see like, wow, I can really retain now something that I I was not able to do it. So that's one of the things that I do during the weekend. Then they
Mhm.
are able to be more organized, focused, not so destroy procrastination forever. There are so many. I mean, as I told you, I don't think it's enough the time to go over all the
Right,
things.
to all
But
of it.
one of the feeling that I can conclude with is that boosts your confidence to level that you maybe never felt since you were a kid. So it's
Mm,
like feeling totally released from the fact that you can do anything you want,
yeah.
everything you want. And that's what I'm serving people, because I really believe that people have dreams inside of themselves, and feeling that confident they can bring out their dreams. And that's why
Mm.
I'm on a mission for this.
Mm. Well, I love it. I can feel your enthusiasm for the work that you do. And, as somebody who is an avid learner and still pretty hard on myself because there's so much more that I want to be learning, right? I
Yes.
know I know how important this is to people. And, I think back to your tools analogy, the importance of like how this is going to be a poor example, but my
It's
hubby and
okay.
I do a lot of like do it yourself home projects, right?
Yes.
And the difference between having the right tool and not the right tool is like hours and hours of time and so
Yes.
much frustration. I mean, we having just spent the entire weekend doing some of the projects that have been on our list, it's like it is so important, this focus on having the right tools. And I think
Yes.
sometimes we just don't know that they're out there. We don't know that there
Right.
is a tool for the thing that we need.
Yeah, I really
Um,
believe that too.
yeah. So, Cosimo, tell us, where do you like, for people that are curious, that want to check out your work? I mean, you're a guy that went from not knowing any English and, you shared with us that you have dyslexia, to learning the language, launching your own business here, and now teaching thousands of people this methodology, right? You said that you just taught a course, I don't know, last week or something, with
Yes.
20,000 people,
Correct. Yes, they were
right?
online.
Yes, no, this is amazing. Tell us where people can find you.
Well, there are, I mean, I have all the possible channels that you can check out me.
Hmm.
Cosimo, okay, I'm actually opening now the YouTube channel, which is Cosimo Intermite. You can just find my name.
Yeah.
And and I have, of course, Instagram and Instagram, TikTok. Oh, TikTok is for more the kids in this case, the
Yeah.
college part, or like kids in school. And you can find me under mindmap.coach. So that's on Instagram, mindmapcoach on TikTok. Anyway, guys, you can find me anywhere.
Got it. And we will share, for
And
those listening, we will share those links in the show notes. Be sure to pop over to legalwebsitewarrior.com/podcast. We'll share your social media handles, your website, which is for your Genius in 21 Days course. And
yes,
then I think you've got a free gift for our audience,
yes,
right?
we talked about this like right before starting,
Yes.
and I said, okay, we can do this. So there is a learning blocks course that I'm doing more often since 2020, and it's a 3 hours course. There is a huge content. Basically, you analyze yourself, understand what are your blocks really deeply, and it's so much fun because people laugh so much during the course when they understand about themselves. And then I give people two unblock strategies that give them back at least 50% of their time and 50% more of their results. And so anyway, the course usually it's like sold for $800, but if they are listening to this podcast, thanks to you, share with them a link, they can have an access to the course for free.
That's
When they
amazing.
fill out that link, they receive a Zoom link and an email, basically two emails, one with the Zoom link, the other one with a small manual, and and then they come to the course, and they will have a blast. I'm totally sure.
Oh, I
And
love that. Well, and if you're listening, make sure that you check that out. Cosimo's work is really like I can't tell you how much my friend Maureen raved about this. And again, this is an $800 value to his course that is learning blocks equal professional blocks. So be sure to check that out. Um,
yeah,
Cosimo, any final words for our listeners today?
so I would say uh, learning isn't it? No, just a second. There was something that I like so much.
Yeah.
Um, Nothing happens unless first a dream. So start dreaming about that you can really learn because it's possible. Start
Mm.
dreaming that you can really have a superpower because it's possible. It's just inside of you, that genius. Let it out. And let's do it
Oh.
together. It will be so much fun.
Oh, it feels so playful. There's something really fun even about that idea that like we can reconnect with what we really want and not, kind of shed these limitations that we have put on ourselves or told ourselves over the years. So, Cosimo, I want to say thank you for coming and sharing
Thank
all of
you.
this today. Yeah, I wish we had more time together, but we'll have to reconnect again in the future.
Yes,
Yeah.
sure.
Well, enjoy your vacation and we will be in touch very soon.
Thank you very much.
Yep. Bye
See
bye.
you soon.